Hi there, my name is Phil from 2020 Sounds. Thank you for clicking on our channel. Today's video is entitled 5 Mistakes Couples Make When Booking Their DJ. I've spoken about this subject quite a lot in previous videos. Choosing the music for your first dance, tips for your first dance, booking a DJ, questions to ask when booking a DJ. I've spoken about our services as well. I've recently done a video about not hiring a friend to DJ at your reception. So it's a subject I've spoken about a lot, and I think the common thread for all of that really is there are mistakes couples make when booking a DJ because they kind of tie a lot of things under one umbrella when it's actually a lot more specific and a lot more skilled than people maybe fully understand. So the first thing I always say to people is, much like any of your wedding suppliers, you have to build a rapport and you have to build your trust with your DJ. It's not simply a case of that you give your DJ a list of songs, he plays those songs and everyone dance. I wish it was that simple. There are so many factors which I have spoken about in other videos, which I will put the links for in the section above here, which you can look at and you can go into more detail. But as I say, you have to trust your DJ because an experienced DJ will have done weddings, virtually every weekend for a sustained period of time. So he's been to the venue before, he's worked at a venue, he knows that if a bar's in a different room, people are going to be outside. If it's a really hot evening, again, people are going to be outside. If there's evening entertainment in another room, he'll understand that as well also. So he will take in all these factors as well. So if you come up to DJ and say, well, you're not playing this, this and this song, it's a case of that he's not playing it maybe for a reason. So he's not playing it to spite you. He's taken the evening as a whole and trying to play the right music at the right time for the right fitting. And that's really as probably simple as I could really make that. So you have to trust your DJ to know that there's so many factors to take into account that goes into being a very good and a very experienced DJ. Number 2, it's not all about dancing. I know it sounds like a really random thing to say, but I'll give you an example. So here we are now, August 2020, and we've just had 2-3 weeks of a really, really hot heat wave. So we've had this really sustained period of sun, which some people really like. I personally don't. I hate the heat, but that's a conversation for a different time. So when you go to a wedding reception as a DJ and it's an evening like we've been having recently, all of your guests are going to be outside because it's a lovely evening, it's hot. They're going to be out there with their friends and family, having a few drinks, chatting, laughing and joking. Now if it's an old building and hasn't got, like it's grade 2 listed, let's say, and it hasn't got air conditioning, do you honestly think you're going to be going into a room that's so hot and then dancing all evening? You're not. And your DJ knows this as well, so he'll understand that it will get cooler in the evening, come sort of 10:30 sort of time. That's when you start playing the big songs and people everyone can dance to, because by that point they've had a few drinks and they're in a good mood and they've got a good atmosphere going on. And also as well at the beginning, right at the very beginning of the evening, again there's no point playing really big songs, because at that point, and again I've mentioned this before, at that point as a couple you might have been going to get some extra photos taken, so your photographer, maybe your videographer would have taken you somewhere else to get those done. Your evening guests will have come in and they just want to have a couple of drinks on their own and get themselves settled and get themselves into the spirit of the evening. Your day guests will maybe sort of go into the hotel rooms and sort of changing possibly, or catching up with those evening guests coming in. So really as a DJ you kind of have to take all these factors into account. So it's not always about dancing. You don't get to be a DJ and then the very first song you play everyone's dancing to the very last song. So as I said in my previous point and again in this point, there are a lot of factors to take into account, and your DJ, as I say, being experienced, will understand all of these things. So it's not all about dancing. So I give this analogy all the time, and I think it's the one that's most fitting, is that if you had a wedding cake and you cut it into 50 pieces, let's say, and at the end of the evening, you had 20 pieces left. Does that mean that the cake was terrible? No, it just meant that 30 people wanted cake and 20 people didn't. And that's exactly how I use that analogy, really, because as I've said again, there are some people that won't dance at all but still enjoy music. That's myself. And there are some people that dance to anything. But equally as well, you have to understand that there are so many factors, as I said before, about weather and other things being in our rooms, the bar, for instance. That's why people don't dance. Number 3 is music choices. It's something I have spoken about so much on my YouTube videos. I've done a video about choosing the music for your wedding reception. And the reason why that is so important, and I say this literally to every single couple I speak to or email, there are songs that you listen to in the car, there are songs you listen to at home, there are songs that you listen to as a couple, but they aren't necessarily those songs that you would choose to have at an evening reception or somewhere where you're asked to play music that people are going to dance to. So the more familiar the music is, the more people are dancing. I've said that thing so many times, it's unbelievable, but it's so true. Choose music that is familiar to people. The other point of that is that if you give your DJ a list of random songs that only you as a couple will fully appreciate and fully understand, or they're a B-side by some artist released in 1992, your guests aren't going to judge your music choices. They're going to judge your DJ on the music he's playing, and they're going to come up to him and constantly be in his ear saying, "Can you change music? Nobody's dancing." And you'll be like, "Yeah, I know, as a DJ, I understand what you're saying, I fully appreciate what you're saying, but I have been asked to play this music by the couple. Obviously, if you want to kind of have that conversation with the couple, you're more than welcome, but I'm doing as I've been asked to do." And sadly, we've had that conversation with guests many times. So when you give your list of songs to a DJ, make sure that they're songs that people understand and that people are familiar with. So as I said before previously, those that won't dance will still appreciate the music that's being played because it's familiar to them, and that's such an important thing to understand. So choose music that's familiar to people. Number 4 is that people tie all DJs under the same umbrella, that they're all the same, and that couldn't be further from the truth. A lot of the experienced DJs that I speak to, good friends of mine that are DJs, they take so much pride in what they do, the way they're set up, the way they present themselves, the way they present their business, the way that they go around about their music choices, the way they speak to couples, the way they speak to people at wedding fairs, how they promote their business. There are these people, myself, I'd like to include myself in that, is that we are so passionate about what we do. Don't say, "Oh, well, all DJs are saying all you've got to do is just play a few records and that'll be it," because it really is so much more than that. And I've explained again, in my 3 previous points and in videos I've done before in the past. When looking for your DJ, look at their Facebook testimonials, look at their reviews, look at their Facebook pages, look at their recommendations, look at, have they been to the venues that you're getting married at. Look at all of these things and then speak to them. Maybe go to a wedding fair or possibly an open day where they're one of the recommended suppliers. Speak to them there and see how you feel about that person. See if you can build a rapport with that person, because that is so important. It really is, because once you have that reassurance that you've booked someone that you get along with, that you know that are going to present themselves in the best way, that have your best interests at heart, and that are going to do the very best for you as a couple, I honestly believe that peace of mind and that reassurance is absolutely fundamental. So it's very easy to just make sure that when you do your research for a DJ that they are the right person for you, and not every DJ is going to be the right DJ for you, just as other suppliers aren't always going to be the right suppliers for you. Just because somebody's recommended them, or a venue's recommended them, or or that somebody else has recommended them to you, make sure you build that rapport up with them first. So, and number 5, the last point is, and again I've done a video about this before, never hire a friend or a relative to DJ at your reception if they aren't a professional DJ. Because I understand, and again as I mentioned in that video that I've done fairly recently, I understand the need to cut costs. As I've said before, again, the average wedding is around about £35,000 and 40% of people go over budget. So it's a it's a staggering cost, absolutely staggering cost. So I understand the need to cut corners. I understand there's a need to save money, but don't do that on your evening reception, on your evening entertainment, on your DJ, because that will lead to so many problems. As I've said previously in my last point, as DJs we take so much pride in what we do. We're always looking to source new music, we're always looking to source new equipment, we're always looking to make sure that we present ourselves in the best way, we're always looking to follow the latest trends that work well for couples, we're always looking to improve ourselves. And also as well, we take so much pride in what we do, we spend so much money on what we do as well, as our equipment costs thousands of pounds. If you're hiring or asking your friend to do it, he's going to turn up with very limited equipment, with very limited songs in not the best presented manner. And yes, maybe you are saving money, but your evening guests who are there to enjoy themselves, they're going to come unstuck, and it's not going to be the evening reception that you'd always hoped for and always dreamed for, and it could quickly turn into a nightmare. So I hope you found those 5 points insightful. I hope you found them informative. If you do have any questions, then please do put them in the comment section below. As I always say, please do subscribe to my channel, and I hope to hear from you soon. Take care.